So yeah, the Gemara says in Ksuvas, Taner Rabbanan, Ketzad Meraktin Lifnei Hakala. Beisila loim nim kala no v'chasuda. Beishamai yoim nim kala kamoy shehi. First Beishamai, then Beisila. In other words, Beishamai says you praise every kala according to her qualities. Beis Hillel says you say on every kala she's no v'chasuda. She's beautiful and gracious. Amr lem Beis Hillel Beishamai. I'm sorry. Amr lem Beishamai Beis Hillel. Hatayra amra midvar sheket tirchak. Hareisha Isa Chigeres, Isa Suma. It's a Gemara in Ksuvas, Daf Yud Zayin. Tez Zayin, Yud Zayin. Tez Zayin Amid Beis, Yud Zayin Amid Aleph. It goes on the bottom and then on the top. So Beishamai says to Beis Hillel, it says Midvar Sheketircha. What if she's Chigeres? Chigeres means lame. Suma means blind. How could you say Kalanova Chasuda? That's why I say, find the right milas. Say she's good at this. Don't say Kalanova Chasud, it's a sheker. Amrulem Beisila B'Shamai. If somebody goes to the marketplace and buys something, yeah? Those of you who are married, you're going to get married soon. Your wife goes shopping and gets a dress, and they can't return it. And she asks you, it's nice or not nice? What do you say? Very good. Shabchena be'enov or yiganena be'enov? You say disgusting. We're talking about if she can't return it. So davar pasha yishabchena beinav. Mikan amru la'olam teidaitu shalodem urevis imabrius. So the first ask, I don't understand. Beis Hillel said, Beishamai said midvar sheketirchak. So Beis Hillel says everybody lies. Thank you. President, do you like my glasses? They're beautiful. They're disgusting, but you say they're beautiful. Where's the answer? Beishamai says you're not allowed to lie. So Beis Hillel said everybody lies. When people go shopping, everybody lies. You go to somebody's house, the cholent is delicious. Mekenes stessen, the cholent is delicious. That's an answer. Everybody lies. So that's why we're allowed to lie. Mikan amru leilam then. I remember my son once went to eat by somebody that lived not far from me. So he came home, and he said the food was chaloshes. I never tasted such horrible food. So I said, did you thank the hostess before you left? He said, yeah. I said, what did you say? He said, I told her that the food was unbelievable. He said, it was hard to believe. What I meant was it was hard to believe that somebody could make such food. It was unbelievable. What's pshat? What's pshat in Beis Hillel? So the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher, once made a siyum on Chagigah. A siyum on Chagigah for a yahrzeit of his father, Chafaf. So he spoke about this machlokes Beishamai and Beis Hillel, and he said that Beis Hillel doesn't say you're allowed to lie. Beis Hillel is giving an answer. Beis Hillel is saying that when you come to a chasana, you can't just put on your own glasses and say it's not nova chasuda. Beis Hillel says, the Gemara says in Soita, shalosh chines hein, chen isha al baila. This chasan shows the kala. So obviously from his perspective, she's nova chasuda. So you come to his chasana, take off your own glasses, put on the chasan's glasses. And then it's kala nova chasuda be'emes, because you empathize with his position. Mikan amru lo'elam teidai teshlodem urevisim habriyas. You have to see things the way another person sees it, and then you're not lying. You're tuning into their real hashkafa. He said this is all a mashal, that Hashem chose every Jew as his kala. Beishamai is midas hadin. Beishamai says, Hoysach Chigeres Eisuma. This Jew is lame. This Jew is blind. This Jew felt re'iyah. Su'umar meinechem ru'umi bara'ela. This Jew is missing kayach harotz l'dvar mitzvahs. Chigeres Eisuma. How can you say Kalanova Chasuda? Comes Beis Hillel and says, Harei shalokach mekach min hashuk. Hashem chose this kala. So in front of Hashem, Yishabchena be'enav or Yiganena be'enav? You're going to say this kala is disgusting? It's Hashem's kala. Shabchena be'enav yiganena be'enav. Lokach mekach. Hashem chose this kala. He's screaming, Chigeres Eisuma. Beishamai is midas hadin. It's very stark. Comes Beis Hillel and says, it's Hashem's kala. Mikan amru lo'elam teidai teshlodem urevis imabrius. What's from urevis imabrius? You have to understand what people go through. The malachim, when they look at a person, they judge him based on heaven. So Hashem told the malachim, go down and let's see what happens. So they came down, hanefilim hoyubar, they became much worse than people. Loylam teidayte shel adam moreves mabrius. You have to know what people go through. You have to understand. You have to not understand. You have to feel what they go through. If you feel what they go through, then you could say Kalanova Chasuda. Because you realize the Chigeres Eisum is an Inya Chitzayni from your perspective. The Pnimius is, it's Kalanova Chasuda. And B'meila, Beis Hillel says that's Taka the Halacha, like Beis Hillel, that's why in the Niggin, you don't say, Keitza Merakta, nobody even knows the shit of Beis Shammai. If you learn the Gemara, you know the shit. In the Niggin, they only did the shit of Beis Hillel. Ha'adam yireh le'inayim, v'Hashem yireh la'levov. Sometimes you look at your child, you look at another Jew, you look at a cousin, you look at yourself. You look at a daughter, at a son, at a nephew, a niece, a shachin, a talmid, or somebody even you don't know, or even you look at yourself, and you say chigeres, as summa, as blind, as hinkedik, this is missing, that's missing. If that's what you're seeing, it's only a reflection, often, of your own struggles, of your own challenges. Now, it says in the Arizal that la'asid love halacha k'b'shamai. Now halacha k'b'sila. Why? La'asid love, the world is going to be in a way that the chitzonius could reflect the pnimius. And if the chitzonius doesn't reflect the pnimius, then b'shamai has a taina. Midvar sheketircha. In this world, halacha is dafka like b'sila. Because in most people's cases, you can't expect the chitzonius to always reflect the pnimius. There's too much struggle. There's too much pain. So comes Beis Hillel and says, Kalanova Chasuda, you have to know the truth. When you look at somebody, you have to be able to see through all the blockages. You have to be able to see through all the layers. You have to be able to see the shining diamond and the goodness inside of them. And if I can't see them, that all I could see is the negativity, the darkness, and the evil, then I have to know that I'm not in a position to be able to help. I'm not in a position where I could be mechaven to the Das HaTorah because I can't see the pnimius. I'm stuck. I'm blocked. You can be in the most beautiful garden in the world, and if you put something in front of your eye, you take a little dime, a little quarter, you put it in front of your eyes, and it blocks the vision. You could see the sky, you could see the mountains, you could see maybe hundreds of miles. It's a beautiful weather, but you take one little quarter and you put it in front of your eye, and you can't see anything. That's how life works. You have one little crooked perspective, and you put it in front of your eye, you can't see anything. So that's what the Rambam says, because that's the pnimius. So that's the union of Purim, Adala Yada, that when the pnimius comes out, you don't need the Yada. The Alter Rebbe teaches, even if it's not mitzad yada, even when there's no yada, it's the etzem hanefesh, it's the pnimius hanefesh. The Arid Haman and Baruch Mordechai doesn't come because of an intellectual pilpul. On Purim, you send away the shatchen, and you let the core shine. So even after Purim, when the shatchen comes back, you know that he's a shatchen. The shatchen doesn't define the relationship. The relationship is defined by atzmius. The same is true, especially people who parent children, or people who in the world of chinuch, or parents who deal with children. This is a yisaidas. In two inyanim. The first thing is, if I can't feel what the person is going through, I'm usually not going to be able to help them. There's people in textbooks, they know all the cheshbonos. But Beis Hillel says, Lo'elam te'dayte shel adam mureves im abriyos. Mureves doesn't mean I have information. Mureves means you're mixed up with a person. The filsta mensch. If I can't feel, it's not this. It could be dangerous. There's people, they become experts, but they never felt. They don't know what it is to feel. If you don't feel what the person is going through, schweig. The Baal Shem Tov says, it told us, Yaakov Yosef says, he heard from the Baal Shem Tov. The Mishnah says in Rosh Hashanah, Shliach Tzibur, she'enei mechuyev b'davar, enei moitzias rab miyadei chevasam. So he says, mechuyev means guilty. Mechuyev. For Shliach Tzibur is not mechuyev. If he never was challenged with this, enei moitzias rab miyadei chevasam. He can't take out people from their choiv. I can't be a lifeguard and sit on the chair and say, hey, loser, get out of the water. It's not going to happen. Somebody is stuck in a pit, in a cave, or the miners. I can't say, come out, shoita. They have to go down. And when you go down, you're in danger. The lifeguard has to jump into the water, and he's in danger. So the Baal Shem Tov said, Mishnah Rosh Hashanah, Chavtes, Shliach Tzibur, the end of Rosh Hashanah, Shliach Tzibur, not Chavtes, in the Lama, the beginning of the Lama, Shliach Tzibur, She'enei Mechuyev B'davar, Einay Meizav Nechevasa. Basil says, Mureves im Abrius, Medaf mitfillen. I'm a filtnish mit. You have to be very careful. Because on paper, I'm right. But there's something missing. The experience is not there. You have people, they don't realize this. They don't have empathy. There's a condition they have. It's known today as Asperger's. You know what Asperger's is? Huh? So some say that children who have Asperger's, it's maybe they're even more sensitive. There's a shitta like this. I don't know if it's right, but there's a shitta there, and therefore they shut it down completely because there was too much pain. So they're actually the opposite. If that's true, it's very powerful and very, very deep. In other words, what you think is detachment is because they were so attached. There's such a shitta, but it was not for tonight's discussion. But my point is, there's sometimes a situation where a person is just like detached. Like there's a certain part I just don't feel. So I could learn everything Baal Peh. I could know all the methods in the world. I could know all the skills in the world. But I just don't know how to feel a heart. I see it sometimes in chinuch. You can have two mechanchim, or two therapists, or two rabbis, or two rosh yeshivas. One person knows all the all the rules, but er felt nicht. He just doesn't feel. He goes home back to his life. He may be a ehrliche mensch, but he doesn't feel. And the other person, he gets it. He just looks at a child and he looks at the eyes and he feels the pain. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. Either you get it or you don't get it. I don't know how you're supposed to teach it to people. They sit, they hear, but in a moment of truth, they're clueless. They don't feel the energy. Mela, not everybody has that chush. But if you don't have that chush, be careful. Because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Huh? Yeah, if you do have, but it's a different type. It's a different type. So that's what Basil says. Don't come to a chassan and start giving shittas about my kala. Don't come into my house and start giving me shittas about my children. Sit. Vein zechois. Endik tehillim. Bet the meibers to open the hearts. And then, don't come here from mibachutz. Don't stand on the outside and give me an expertise. There was a program, there were two therapists. There was a kasher nafshi for parents struggling with kids. Two therapists were talking. One was talking, but you didn't feel that he felt it. So he was telling Mises from the Alta von Kellem, and from the Alta von Slabotka, and from the Bissol Salante, and from the Shlomo Volba, and from this one and that one. All's good to Torah, but you couldn't connect. The other one, he struggled with his own kids. Everybody melted. And the operator, he didn't even understand why he wasn't connecting to the people. He wasn't connecting. You can't connect to people if you don't experience what they're experiencing. You need empathy.
You have to experience everything, or it's enough you have that head. You have to experience the same
Exact. I once heard from the Rebbe Amaisa that he heard from his Shver, from the Rebbe Dayatz. The Mittler Rebbe was taking Yechidus, the son of the Balatanya. And people were coming, and a man came, and he spoke to him. And the person left. The Mittler Rebbe closed the door, and he told the Gabbai he can't do Yechidus anymore. And he closed himself up in a room for 3 days. And he was Shorei B'Tainas. And they heard he was crying and davening and saying Tillim. And then he said they could call him back. And he started again the Yechidus. What happened? He said the Yid came, and he needed a tikkun for a shrekliche zach. It's a very big, terrible thing he did. Mamish, really disgusting. Mittler Rebbe said like this, I have a klal. When a Yid comes to me for help, the only way I can help him is if I experience what he went through. The only way I can experience what he went through is if I find something like this in my life. Even if it's not similar mamish, but epis, bedakos, edel, for edel oifer, there's a similarity. This Jew came to me, and he shared with me what he did, and I couldn't find it in me. So I said to myself, but Hashem sent him to me. If Hashem sent him to me, it means I can help him. But the only way I can help him is if I find it in me, but I can't. So that means that it's Ra HaNelam. It means that it's so concealed inside of me that I have no access to it. So then I realized I have to really go back to the beginning. Start a cheshbon nefesh completely. And he said, after 3 days of fasting, I found it in me. And he called him back and he gave him a tikkun. So what's Pshat? So Tzaddik Elyon is the son of the Balatanya, the Mittler Rebbe, the second Rebbe in Chabad, Rabbeinu Dov Ber. What's the Pshat? The Pshat is that you cannot really help somebody if you don't feel them, if you don't experience them. Why not? Amol, they didn't think so. In the world of psychology, they didn't agree with this. They said, why? I listened to you. Verkehrt. I'm objective. I don't have your problems. Today, already they know that it's not the case. I'll tell you why. The Mittler Rebbe was... Today, already in psychology, they know this. Because real healing comes from empathy. Healing comes from empathy. It's not healing comes because I'm brilliant and I'm telling you advice. Healing comes when I can have bittul and become an empathetic witness for your pain. And that allows you to find within yourself the Orein Soiv that will heal you. So the biggest avodah of a healer is not what to say. It's to put himself aside and really be able to be there in a non-judgmental way. To be non-judgmental, you have to empathize. To really empathize, you have to experience. To really experience, you have to find it in you. It doesn't mean I'm you. Doesn't mean I did what you did. Doesn't mean I made the same mistakes. But it means that I'm struggling with something. And if not, ashrei chelkecha, but healing you won't be able to. And educating you won't be able to. And real parenting you won't be able to. Real. It's a very deep opinion. It's v'nafshe kshura b'nafshe. And there's people who are limited with this. The problem is not that they're limited. The problem is that they don't know that they're limited. It's not a problem when you're limited with something. Not everybody can do everything. But when I think I'm an expert, right? Huh? Yeah, it's a big challenge. It's also true with Rabbanim, Rosh Hashivas, Mashpiyim, fine Yidden, Ehrlich Yidden, but they don't have a hergish, they don't have experience in this. So you go to a dentist because you have a problem in your foot. He's a fine dentist, best dentist in Muncie. As good for the tzena, and is good for the cup. But a neuroscientist, a cardiologist, a podiatrist, nicht kein dentist, verstehst? So da Yid, kennt gut Choshe Mishpat, kennt gut Yeredeya, kennt jeden Prima Godim in Basa B'Cholov backwards and forwards. Huh? Es da mal, was kennt Tanja euch, aber fehlt nicht Tanja. Verstehst? Kennt Tanja, aber fehlt nicht der Tanja. It's an important Indian. So da sagt Bis Hillel, if you're mu'urev in abriyas, you'll be able to see Kala Nova Chasuda. You look at a bacher, you look at a boy, a girl struggling. If you can't see Kala Nova Chasuda, it means that your dveikus with Hashem is missing. It has nothing to do with the boy, nothing to do with the girl. Your own dveikus is missing. If you would be an oiz ge'edel to neshama, if you would be refined, if your ego would be in its right place, then you would look at the person. It doesn't mean the person doesn't have problems. Doesn't mean the person doesn't have challenges. Doesn't mean the person didn't make mistakes. Doesn't mean the person did a tzaddik hadar. It doesn't mean the person doesn't need a lot of help. But it means that when you look at the person, you could see their beauty. You could see the gold in them. You could see the zav, the zav tar, miksha zav. You could see it. The Alter Rebbe in L'Kutei Ba'aloischa says, what's miksha zav? Why do they have to be miksha zav? Take miksh, it's one piece of gold, meklapt, and the part that was on bottom is on top. The top that was on top is on bottom. He says that's how you have to heal Jews. You have to look at a person and you see all his negativity. He says that may be you. It's mikshas of, it's one piece. And when the menorah got oizgeklapt, my ra went into you and your toiv went into me. So you're taking credit for your goodness. You're judging him for his negativity. He says, really, it's his toiv and your ra. So look at the Torah Ba'alaischa. He says, relax. So Maisa with the tzanzer of the Divrei Chaim. You know the Maisa? You don't know the Maisa? It's a long Maisa, but the Nekudah is the tzanzer of. He made a shidduch with the Baruch Tam, the Baruch Tom and Frankel made a shidduch with the Divrei Chaim for his daughter, Feigeruchel, right? And the Divrei Chaim, he was a hiker. Had a hunchback. The Baruch Tam's daughter was Yefei Toyev, Yefas Toyev, Yefas Mara. And when he found out about his mum, he wanted to be Mavatal the Shidduch, but he already made a promise. You never heard the story. I heard this from the Tzanzer of Za'enikul. Reb Chaim Rubin told me the mice. Told me he heard it from his Baba, who heard it from his Baba, who heard it from her. From Ruchel Feige Ruchel. Tzanzer Rov's first wife, Zivu Grish. See, the Baruch Tam didn't know what to do. He wanted to kill himself because he made a shidduch. He went to the Beis Medrash and he spoke to him. He never saw him standing, walking. He just saw him sitting. Anyway, so the Tzanzer Rov came before the Chasana and he told the father-in-law, you could be mevatel the shidduch, it's fine. No kpeid, it's fine. He was a mekach tos. But if you give me permission, I would like to talk to her for a few minutes. And he went in, and this mice says there was a mirror. And he told her to go over to the mirror. She went over to the mirror, and suddenly she saw that he was standing straight, and she was bent. So this is Mazois, the Rechaim says, when his neshama came down, and he heard Bas Ploini Leploini. So he saw that her neshama is going to come down into a guf that's going to have a mum. So he asked Hashem if he could give it to him instead of her. So for him it'll be much easier. If it's a sinalen, it doesn't matter. For her it's going to be more challenging. So Hashem agreed. Said, I was born in my body and you were born in your body. So she came out and she said, Mazel Tov, he's my chassan. Chaim Rubin told me he heard it from his Baba, from Baba heard it from her. That's the mice. But what's the nekuda? Nekuda is sometimes what your wife is dealing with is your challenge. She's reflecting it. You say always. Moedenai and Parshas Vayera. No, it's not always. It's not always. Darf nicht allemal nehmen de blame. Darf nicht allemal nehmen de blame. Could be in your case always, but not everybody. Moedenai sagt the Parshas Vayera. Nachum Chernobyl. Ja, du weißt, ja? Ja. The Moire Naim writes in Parshas Vayera, was a mensch, was a man is be'alma des Galje, is the vibe be'alma des Kassia. Verstehst? Or verkehrt. What she's be'alma des Galje, he's be'alma des Kassia. She's just revealing it. In any case, wie kommt man zu dem? Why did I say that? So he says, yeah, the Divrei Chaim was saying, you understand? It's not so simple. Sometimes your mum is my mum. You took it on yourself. And my mila is your mila. You gave it to me.
The man's job is to be you do listen.
So the point is that, in life we need to be much more compassionate and much less judgmental. That's the b'china. It's easier said than done. This is avodas Hashem, adalayada. So adalayada means you have to be able to trust. If you put away the yada is very confusing for people. This one is a philosopher. If you go deeper than the yada, you'll see Arur Haman, Baruch Mordechai, but it's not yada, it's from the Etzem HaNefesh.